What we think of as Wentworth Woodhouse is actually two houses, both largely rebuilt in the 18th century. The east front, which we see from the park, entirely obscures the second house, which faces west towards the village. The western house is the older of the two, started in around 1725 to replace an even older structure. The western front, or the back front as it's sometimes known, is less formal than the grand east front and is built largely in brick with Baroque stone facings. The only major change to the exterior of the house since it was originally put up was the addition of two extra stories to each of the wings of the east front in around 1782. Evidently, the Fitzwilliam family of the time needed more bedroom space. 150 wasn't enough. The stable block was built in 1768 by John Carr on a scale to match the house. This can easily be viewed from the public path through the park, and as you can see, the horses probably had a better standard of accommodation than most of the residents in the village at the time. The stable comprises of 15 bays with a rustic entrance and Tuscany columns, pediment and cupola. There is a large, no longer operational fountain in the centre of the courtyard which cuts through the gates. Much of the stable block was used as a gymnasium when the house was used for education purposes. From 1949 to 1974, the house was home to the Lady Mabel College of Physical Education, named after Lady Mabel Smith, sister of the 7th Earl Fitzwilliam. The public rights of way through Wentworth Park have always been popular with local walkers. The highlight is the magnificent east front, with its equal grand stable block. But there are plenty of other buildings and sites of interest in the park. These include the famous follies of Hooba's Stand, Needle's Eye, Keppel's Column and the Mausoleum, plus lesser known features such as the Doric and Ionic temples. Situated in Mausoleum Wood near the hamlet of Netherhaugh, commissioned in 1783 by the 4th Earl in the memory of his uncle Charles, the 2nd Marquess of Rockingham, whose body is actually in York Minster. At 115 feet, Keppel's Column is the tallest of the Wentworth Follies. It was originally planned to be even taller and capped with a statue of Admiral Keppel. Legend has it that the Earl Fitzwilliam built the structure as the result of a wager that he could drive his horse and carriage through the eye of the needle. The position of the coach road supports this story, although the size of the archway probably only sufficient to accommodate a small gun carriage. Designed in the 18th century by Henry Flitcroft, situated on the highest ridge in the Wentworth area, some 157 metres above sea level, and commanding fine views all around from the viewing platform at the top of the stand, after climbing the 155 internal stone steps. Wentworth village itself is of considerable historical interest. The well-preserved estate cottages along the main street were built in an ad hoc fashion in the early 17th century onwards and have a charm all of their own. For a small village, Wentworth has a very wide range of shops and businesses: post office, little gallery, a hairdresser, wine merchant and a number of smaller craft shops near the George and Dragon pub. For a small village, Wentworth is unusual that it has two churches: the partly ruined but occasionally used Old Church and the Victorian New Church. Wentworth Old Church is believed to have medieval origins. Sadly, it is mostly in ruins, having been largely disused since the opening of the new church in 1877. The churchyard is fascinating in its own right. It has stones dating back to the 17th century, many with interesting stories attached. The new church was commissioned in 1872 by the 6th Earl Fitzwilliam at a cost of around £25,000 in the memory of his parents. It was built on a grand scale, and its spire of almost 200 feet is visible for miles around.